Good evening, chums, and welcome, as always, to 15 Minutes with Sebastian. Now, chances are, if you don't live in or near to North Compass, you've probably never heard of the Bitsy folk. Though I imagine you've heard of pixies and gnomes, haven't you? Well, it's about to change. But first, some music.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to the water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls me. Radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get the feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, one more. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.
Tonight's strange tale from North Compass is another tale my grandmama used to tell me on a cold winter's evening by the fire. And even though it was just a bedtime story, she would often have a far-away look in her eyes as the tale unfolded. For you see, the story she told had occurred shortly after she and my grandpapa were married. Allow me to elaborate. My grandmama would begin, as always, by telling me that once upon a time legend spoke of an age when the little people were quite common throughout the hills and valleys of North Compass. And before we go any further, listeners, I'm not referring to hobbits or dwarves or some fictional character from a Dungeons and Dragons game. No. These little people were known as the Bitsy folk, an ancient name that people living in the area will know very well. Standing no taller than a man's knee, but in every other respect they are described as being much like you and I, though perhaps a little more nimble. Now, my grandmamma would continue her tale with her usual warning, a warning never to play near the edge of Cider Hill on a full moon. For it was on those nights that the Bitsy folk, or so she said, would dance the night away, frolicking in the moonbeams and dancing in the shadows. And so it seems that one night that summer, two Bitsy folk had ventured to dance a little too far from home. Subsequently, they had found themselves at the edge of Cider Hill, far from their kin and standing outside the home of my grandmamma and my grandpapa. Did I mention my grandpapa was a beekeeper? Something of a legend in the beekeeping fraternity. Now, I loved my grandpapa dearly, but I am well aware that he was known for his awful temperament and a rather fierce demeanour. And of course, let's not forget, most people avoided his home whenever possible, for you see, grandpapa was also the proud owner of a very large shotgun. Apparently, on this summer's night, the moon was quite full, and as my grandparents were going about their evening's chores, grandpapa had heard a scurrying sound coming from outside. Grandmamma would continue by saying that two Bitsy folk had stumbled upon her farmhouse, and that standing there staring up at such a grand structure, the two young Bitsy folk were quite unable to contain their curiosity, and before they'd even considered the dangers that might lie ahead, they'd entered the house. Unfortunately, my grandpapa heard them as they had been exploring, and he gave pursuit, by which I mean he fired both barrels at the now terrified Bitsy, who ran as fast as their little legs would carry them in their attempt to escape. But escape they did, through a loose panel of wood. As grandpapa had given pursuit, he'd let loose with volley after volley of shots, until the two Bitsy eventually made it to the thicker grasses. And despite a powerful lantern, the two Bitsy finally made it to safety and back to their hiding hole. Grandmamma was never one for exaggeration, and would never allow a liar's tongue to speak for very long, so I have to believe her story, though at the time I could never really understand her warning about Cider Hill. But if you've read my book, A History of North Compass, Volume 2, then you'll know just how many sightings there have been of the North Compass Bitsy folk. There's a brand new archaeology program coming to North Compass Television. History below our feet. And in the pilot episode, we'll be revisiting a site that has fascinated me for years. Sadly, and rather infuriatingly, little to no information could be found about either the origins or the architects of this strange and obscure construction. That is, until now. Thanks once again to my old friend, Professor George Harrison, over at Hodge University, and new evidence uncovered by the ongoing research of this team. It seems that once again, all evidence points towards the Sudbury family and the possibility that historically they may be implicated in yet another sordid tale of murder and betrayal. And it seems that this temple, carved from solid sandstone, was the secret meeting place for a satanic sect who called themselves the Compass Men. So tune in to a brand new archaeology program, History Below Our Feet, with me, Sebastian Presley. Some music now from the Lonely Hearts Club to play us out. So, until next time, go ahead, make my day.